facing federal charges tonight. They're at the center of what investigators are calling a multi-million-dollar conspiracy involving money laundering, forced labor, and abuse. This follows multiple FBI raids this morning, including at a home in the...
I'm sorry. Look at that home. That's the pastor's home.
Oh, wow.
That is like a castle. That is a castle. That is not a house. That is a castle.
Go ahead and continue, because I got a lot to say.
Affluent Avala neighborhood in Hillsborough County. This was part of a nationwide takedown. Fox 13 is covering this investigation from multiple angles. Our Kylie Jones is at the federal courthouse in Tampa, diving deeper into the church and its leaders. But we begin with Aaron Mesmer live in Avala with more on the raid and reaction from neighbors. Aaron.
Yeah, Haley, and these neighbors were absolutely stunned by what went on this morning. Neighbors in this community, they woke up to helicopters and FBI agents raiding a home in Avala. And once they found out why those federal agents were there, it was even more surprising.
Some of you say, I don't have 100,000, but you have 20,000. You have 50,000 here, or you have 10,000.
That's video of David Taylor asking viewers to send money to his church. Federal authorities now say Taylor used donations to fund an extravagant lifestyle that included this massive mansion in Tampa's affluent Avala community. FBI agents raided the home Wednesday morning.
It's very surprising to hear that type of thing was going on again right in your backyard.
It's unclear what authorities took from the home. This view from Skyfox shows several cars lined up with gift bows on top. Neighbors say the 10-bedroom, 10.5 bathroom, 28,000 square foot mansion is one of the largest in Avala.
Because they was like, how could a pastor afford to live in a house like that?
According to the 23-page federal indictment, this house is one of several properties throughout the country purchased by Taylor's Kingdom of God Global Church. He's the pastor and referred to himself as an apostle, according to court documents. The indictment alleges Taylor recruited people to work at call centers, referring to them as armorbearers. Investigators say they were his, quote, personal servants who fulfilled Taylor's demands around the clock and were never paid. Taylor and executive director Michelle Brannon are accused of controlling nearly every aspect of the workers' lives, cutting them off from family and forcing them to take contraceptives. Human trafficking advocates say it's a devastating...
Whoa, I'm sorry. I had to stop the video right there. What? Forcing them to take contraceptives. Why would they force them to take contraceptives?
God will bless them and change I don't know, something. They'll use people. Go ahead, continue. I got a whole speech I got to say about this. But
stating situation.
And you really had every aspect of human trafficking. You had individuals who were, brought to a facility that they couldn't leave. They weren't being paid. They had production goals that they had to meet.
And authorities say if the workers failed to reach Taylor's monetary goals, they faced punishment, including public humiliation, food and shelter restrictions, sleep deprivations, and physical and psychological abuse. The Crisis Center of Tampa Bay.
Wait, they were whooping their ass? What? Oh my God.
I told him this is what the devil does when you don't meet the expectations.
Oh my God.
You getting pissed off.
I mean, I know.
Who you telling, Shantae? I got a lot to say.
Jesus turned over the tables in the temple. My goodness, I don't remember him putting hands on folks.
As these victims will likely face a long recovery. She says there's another lesson every community can learn from this.
This can happen in one of our most affluent zip codes in Hillsborough County. It can happen in your backyard. It can happen in my backyard.
As for the folks who lived with alleged human trafficking, fraud, and money laundering happening in their backyards.
I hope it's not true, but if it is, he deserves everything he's going to get.
Oh, it's very much true. I believe it.
And there was also what appeared to be a federal command center set up just north of here at St. Joseph's Hospital in Lutz. Experts say if there were any human trafficking victims at this property, they likely would have been taken to a nearby hospital.
In a $50 million labor and money laundering scandal linked to a Houston ministry. An active investigation is happening at the Joshua Media Ministries International, which is...
And by the way, this is a different church. You know what? Before we get into this clip, let's talk about the first one, because this one's coming out of Houston. So let's go back to Tampa for the first one we just heard about. Shantae, I'm gonna let you go first because I feel like crazy.
I'm speechless, man. Like I'm so upset I can't even form words. Like, first of all, when I seen that house, I'm like, oh, look at what my money is going to. You know what I'm saying? Like, but human trafficking and all of that, like I'm trying to figure out how he's getting away with this. Like that's insane. Like somebody obviously people in the church have got to be helping him. You know, it's
that
crazy.
white woman was one. That woman that was up there, she was one of them. She's the co-conspirator. Yeah, it wasn't just him. It's a whole network. Those are just the two figureheads.
I mean, it always bothers me anyway with pastors sitting there talking and asking money from people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that clip of what was his name? Who did that recently? That other
close
guy?
The doors. Yeah, close the door.
That guy.
See,
I mean, and then it's like it's crazy.
This is what makes me you're good. This is what makes me so mad about the black church, right? So people usually are in vulnerable places in life. We all go through hard times, right? And what tends to happen is you end up being in a vulnerable place and you end up going to church and they manipulate you in certain ways, making you believe, hey, if you do this, God's going to change your life. You know what I mean? If I slap you in the back of your head, God's going to bless you. You're going to get delivered. If I just let me slap you, you know what I mean? Let me do this to you. And it's crazy because stemming back from history, the black church was a sacred environment for black folks. You know what I'm saying? When they were being oppressed and all that good stuff. The black church was a sacred. Now it's become a show. It's a game. It's jokes. And I'm pretty sure, Derek, you going to church when you were younger in comparison to what it is now, it's nowhere near it's totally different. And that's what turned people off about the whole church community. I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure other people, where you go to certain churches and you devote your life and get closer to God, and then you come across some false people who are on the side, having intercourse with members of the church and stealing money and being hypocritical and say, "Oh, you're going to go to hell because you're doing this and that," and they're the ones doing the worst things. So, in my eyes, pastors are the pimps nowadays. Modern pimps.
Well, nothing has really changed in the last 30 years that I know of. The only difference is we have the internet. Like, remember the movie Friday when Bernie Mac went over to old girl's house and then the man came home? That stuff was going on a long time. Come to my quarters for some personal counseling, and and then there are women that will come to church with short things on and sit right in the front with no underwear on. So I have pastor friends, so I know some of the stuff that goes on. But at the same time, there are a lot of scammers. So there's some legitimate people in it, but there's a lot of scammers. And like you said, they tend to play on people, especially people that are downtrodden. They play on some of their insecurities and issues, and they use it. And pastors should get paid, because at the end of the day, it's a job. They should get paid. However, that I don't know. That was a castle. That wasn't even a mansion. That was a whole castle.
Yeah, I mean, that's bigger than most celebrity and NFL players. I mean,
and he said that was one of their many properties. That wasn't even the only property. So that was one thing. The second thing is, I can't get over the sex trafficking and the human trafficking. And they were beating people ass. They were talking about some physical and psychological repercussions for not meeting your numbers. So not only would they mentally torment you, they were beating your ass.
Yeah.
Like, what? Where in the Bible does you get, like, even in the Bible? No, I'm serious. Like in the Old Testament, they even have slave masters treating their slaves well. That's even in the Bible. So even if they are slaves, you don't treat them like that. That's if you're gonna be completely biblical. And so I don't understand that. I mean, the money laundering, I'm not surprised. It's the human trafficking and the sex trafficking too, because if people do take contraceptives, that means it's sex trafficking, because somebody's having sex with them. Because why would you just take birth control and morning after pills if you
that's what I was thinking.
So I got some issues with that. So that's my thing. And so, if there is a hell, he's gonna be in there with some gasoline draws on, burn it up. Now let's go over to Houston in a similar story.
Also breaking at noon, 2 pastors now facing federal charges in a $50 million labor and money laundering scandal linked to a Houston ministry. An active investigation is happening at the Joshua Media Ministries International, which is off the North Freeway. And that is where we find KPRC2 reporter Rochelle Turner. Rochelle, what is going on there? This seems to be a really interesting story, but what have you seen or heard from people there on the ground?
Haley, good afternoon to you. I can tell you within the past 5 minutes or so, we actually spoke to a worker who works at a supply store right next door. And he told us that he wasn't surprised when he came into work this morning and saw all of the law enforcement agencies. He said since he's been at that business in the past year or so, he's seen some strange things, including people coming out here and mowing this grass with a single push lawnmower. He even offered one of the workers water, and the person didn't say much. But we have seen a steady stream of law enforcement here at this church here and since about 6 o'clock this morning. This is the JMMI Global Campus for Harvest. It's owned by the Kingdom of God Global Church, and federal prosecutors say its leaders, David Taylor and Michelle Brannon, operated call centers in Michigan, Florida, and Texas and Missouri to solicit donations and committed forced labor. According to the 10-count federal indictment, Taylor and Brannon allegedly forced followers to work in their call centers for little or no pay, pressuring them to meet high donation quotas. Victims allegedly lived in ministry housing or even slept at the call centers with their movements strictly controlled. Prosecutors allege Taylor, who called himself an apostle, required some followers called armorbearers to serve him around the clock. They were allegedly tasked with transporting women to him, some of whom were told to take emergency contraceptives. The indictment also accuses the pair of using millions in donations to fund a lavish lifestyle, buying luxury properties, cars, a boat, jet skis, and more, while threatening victims with humiliation, food restrictions, sleep deprivation, and even claims of divine punishment if they fail to comply.
Well, I already knew that part.
And Taylor was arrested in North Carolina and Brannon in Florida. Now, they are expected in court sometime later today, but a lot of strange allegations tied to this ministry right here in Houston. Investigators tell us that they believe more victims will come forward, and they are urging anyone who may be victimized to give them a call. Of course, Haley, this is a story we're going to continue to stay on top of, and we're going to have another report.
Yo, that's crazy. So not only is it going on in Florida, he got a whole call center in Houston where he is like having people sleep in the office at the call center.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. And then he has some people going to get girls and bringing them to him. He's like, he's pimping. It's pimping is pimping is pimping.
Modern pimps, man.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, and this is not representative of even most churches, but boy, when you get one that's, you know,
turns people off.
Yeah, it turns people off because then it keeps people thinking, you know, makes people think that it's like that for all churches.
When this is not.
You know, it's not. It's just, this is just a small minority of them. And it's a shame that this man and this woman are over here just conspiring, giving people, you know, saying like, okay, we're going to give you food and a place to stay, but if you don't do what we say, we're going to take it away. And matter of fact, you're going to have to come on to the pastor's quarters to put out a little bit. And if you don't, you're going to get punched in the eye. That's what I took from all that.
It's definitely a cult.
What's that? I
said it's definitely a cult, in my opinion. Like, it's crazy. It's just completely crazy.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's just the same thing. I mean, same feedback. It's just disappointing because there's people out here that, you know, are seeking solutions, you know, vulnerable, and they go to these churches and pastor's like, yo, I'm gonna slap my
meat,
slap my tool. I'm gonna slap my tool on your face, and that's my way of getting close. That's your way of getting closer to God.
Yeah, that's it. Holy milk.
Oh yeah, whole lot of holy milk.
Ooh, I mean, you know, I can't, yo. I'm speechless. It's crazy.
Get a
Yeah,
get a
and
nice
so-
little tune up at church too. Post service.
Man, you know, and the funny part is, you know, we always talk about the Catholic Church, but these other churches are just as, you know, you got the priests over on one end messing with little boys, and these people are money laundering and doing grandoso schemes. It's like you can't win.